Hey YouTubers! I'm probably a little bit old to be saying that, I feel. But I feel like I wanted to say it. I wanted to start the conversation saying, hey YouTubers. I'm Jenna and this is...
I'm Becky.
And we have just started a YouTube channel to discuss transactional analysis. And throughout our series, we'll be getting through the individual sections of it and really trying to break it down into manageable chunks. So I will pass you on to Becky and we will talk about how we came to our name and the process that we took. So do you want to talk about the process first or do you want to talk about the name first?
Do you know what? It'll probably all sort of melt together, won't it? And we'll just see what comes out as we're talking about it. So Translate Relate wasn't the first name that we landed on, right? We both threw out sort of a good few ideas when we were thinking about this channel, because what we wanted from Translate Relate, or from this channel as a concept when we first started talking about it, was to take transactional analysis, TA, which we both love, and to make it really accessible, to make it so that we are breaking down the jargon, the stuff that feels too hard and heavy when you read big thick textbooks, or when you listen to professionals talking to another professional who are coming at it from that same level of understanding, which is, you know, many steps above where the average person is with their understanding of psychology or with TA as a theory. And so we always wanted to be able to break down the theory that we love and make it accessible and relatable to everyone. And ultimately, that's how we landed on Translate Relate, this idea that we are translating this psychological theory, we're making it relatable, but that it's also a way of translating the way that we relate to each other, right?
Yeah, and that was something that we... so we were in supervision and we were talking about the name, and he said, oh, I thought it meant the way that you translate the way you relate to each other. And it was like, no, that wasn't what we thought of, but actually I can see how that would work as well. And for me, one of the best things about TA is, I don't know, it is almost like cracking codes and solving puzzles and like trying to work out how all these people fit in that dynamic. And because one of my interests is groups in particular, how does everybody fit into the group and how do we all kind of slot into place? So for me, how we can translate and break that code so that we can have better relationships and better communication, that's one of the things that is most inviting and most beneficial to me out of TA. And when we were coming up with names for the channel, so Becky's idea was to have a separate WhatsApp group. So I've never done this before. Have a separate WhatsApp group, which is just for dumping ideas, anything that we could think of that was to do with the channel, to do with TA, but wasn't kind of chit chat, conversations, updates. And it's been, well, to be honest, I've now got one with my husband, which I'm sure he'll thank you for tonight. So that's now called Cheaper Than Therapy, and it's all the to-do lists. So that was a really helpful way. But within this channel, what we did was we were putting all the names, and we've talked about it a few times, but how our ability to come to a decision about a name has been so easy, and make the decisions about the channel, about the colours and about the setup, because we both have an understanding of TA and what we will discuss in the series, but we are aware of what's our stuff and we're aware of what the other person might be bringing up as well, because we're able to have those conversations to say, do you know what, this is my thing. This is me feeling a little bit weird about this, and I know it's a me thing, and let's work through it. And that's been one of the most eye-opening things for me, working through to come up with the name Translate Relate, of our process of having the awareness and both working together. So we've both got the same goal, but we might go about it in separate ways, and acknowledging that and acknowledging each other's experience.
Do you know, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there with what it is that I love about TA. So you talked about how you love like group dynamics and understanding the different way that people work together. But that self-awareness piece is what I love most. I'm sort of quite into the idea of living life on purpose, because we don't live life on purpose. Whenever I've looked and done research into how many thoughts we have in a day, like the numbers are vastly different. It ranges between 6 and 60,000 thoughts that we can have in a day. Whichever number it is, like that's loads of thoughts, right? Like in whatever way you look at it, that's a lot of thoughts. And yet something like 95% of them are the same thoughts that we had yesterday and the same thoughts that we had the day before and the day before that. And what TA does for me is allows me to understand, where are those thoughts coming from? Like, what is it that's gone on that has then built these automatic thoughts for me? And then how am I using those thoughts in my relationship with you and with other people? So it's that real self-awareness piece, understanding the story that I've built for myself and the story that then I'm living. And for me, self-awareness is the most beautiful gift, because once you are there with self-awareness, and once you start, and when I say there, I mean once you start looking, because I don't think you're ever fully there. Like, you know, I've been on this journey for a long, long time, and still things come up all the time where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was where this has come from. No wonder I'm reacting in that way. Now I want to choose to respond differently, because once you have that level of self-awareness, you actually then have the power to choose to do differently, to stop having 95% of your thoughts being the same as the day before, and to start changing not only your outlook on life, but actually the way that your life goes as a result of living life on purpose.
Yeah, and some of those responses as well, once you are aware of the principles of TA, you can then work out how do you want to respond. Because sometimes I can look at TA and I can be like, I know I'm doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And other times like, right, whoa, no, I don't want to get into that trap. I don't want to get into that cycle. So I'm going to do things differently. And it really does help to take a lot of, I don't want to say stress. What word do I want to say? Hassle out of your life, because you're not getting involved in dramas as much. Like when I look back, and maybe that's maturity as well as TA, maybe I can't put it all down to TA, but I think a lot of it is, you know, do I want that invitation? Do I want that discussion? Do I want it in that way? Or am I going to choose something different that's going to work better for me? And yeah, and I think with TA as well, you don't take things as personally, because sometimes you can see people's patterns of behavior and you're like, do you know what? It wouldn't matter if it was me sat in the chair or somebody else sat in the chair, they would have responded exactly the same. So it's not me, it's how they're responding. So that's what I love about TA. The choice, the less, minimal, lesser, a smaller amount of hassle. Yeah. And you can dip your toe in it, or you can just keep on going and keep on learning and keep on improving. And one of the things that I found is that you start to see people's patterns of behavior much earlier as well. So you can start to predict, I don't know if that's the right word, but have an idea, or maybe think about what red flags to watch out for based on other patterns that you've seen before.
Yeah, like you almost start to like head things off at the pass. I can see this coming, so I'm going to make a conscious decision to do something differently that's hopefully going to break this pattern. Doesn't always, because, you know, we as human beings, we love habit and we love routine, even when the habits and routines aren't actually doing us any good. Like, we don't realise that, but so we'll still look for ways to get the thing that we're used to. But it at least gives us a choice to try and do things differently. And the thing that made the biggest difference for me with TA was not learning about TA. I learned about TA for the first time years and years and years ago on a leadership development course, but actually living the principles. So actually making them part of my life. I'll often talk about the difference between knowing all the things and doing all the things. And I always say, very much with a pinch of salt, I know all the things. I know all the things, so why am I still doing it? Because you can know all the things, but if you're not doing the things that you know, then nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you learn, doesn't matter how much of our podcasts or other podcasts or books you read. If you don't actually put it into practice, then nothing is ever going to change for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your expectations and goals of the channel?
Oh, Jenna. What are my expectations and goals for the channel?
I hope you've got an expectation at this point. We've dressed the set specially, so I hope you've got an expectation.
Yeah, my expectations and goals for the channel. I mean, I'm not going to lie, there's definitely a big part of, my personal growth and understanding this as well. I think it's really worth saying. We're not qualified transactional analysts. We're still very much learning.
Oh, we've not said where we've met.
No, we haven't. We'll get onto that. But we're still very much on that learning journey. So a big part of it is me improving my own understanding, but also what I want to get from this is literally, as the name says, to be able to translate this theory and make it really relatable to people. Make it so that you can listen and think, oh yeah, that's me. And then you can decide whether you want that to be you anymore or not, or whether you are going to start making some changes and living life on purpose.
Yeah, and for me, one of the things that is, I guess, my personal bias, me putting my values onto other people, maybe, what I would really like to get from this channel is to help people who are in those cycles, whether that's living the same year after year after year, or in the same relationships that aren't healthy relationships. Maybe there's toxic family members or something like that. I would like people in those situations to find our channel, watch some of our content, and think, oh, maybe I don't have to do this on repeat. And like you say, living on purpose. So I would like someone to find our channel, look at some of the tools that we've got to offer, and then start to almost take a step back and start to look at what's going on around them and think, do I want to live on purpose, or do I want to live this same cycle over and over again? And I would get a lot from that. I would get a lot from that, thinking that our channel is helping people to get out of bad situations, unhealthy communication cycles, and then making that decision. And that's not to say that that's an easy decision to make. And I can understand why people don't choose to make it. And there's 1,000,001 reasons why. But if somebody who wanted to get out of that situation could find our channel, use it, and then have a different life, that for me would be amazing.
Yeah, totally agree with that. For people to feel empowered that they don't have to do what they've always done. They don't have to get what they've always got. That things can be different.
Yeah, I'd love that. And so that's what we want from the channel. What does it look like? What does the channel look like? We've done 10 videos, we're saying, for the first series.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we have said throughout all of the process is no stress, no pressure. No stress, no pressure. And it's really flowed quite well to the point that we're here and we're actually filming it. And it doesn't really feel like a stress or a pressure, even if I have broken one of my cameras today. It just kind of fell over. Rebekah's like, camera down,
camera falling.
But it doesn't feel like it's been a stress or a pressure at all. It's felt really enjoyable. And I think back to what I said before about the process of knowing what your stuff is and what my stuff is, and saying things out loud, which maybe in other circumstances we would have kept to ourselves. So, well, why don't we do this? Oh, that's a fantastic idea. Brilliant. But we don't always say those things. But I think because we both had that understanding of TA, we now have that confidence of, if I reject that idea, I'm rejecting the idea, not rejecting you. And that's a big difference. So why am I talking about this? What was my point? I was talking about the no stress, the no pressure.
Are you talking about what the channel looked like?
Yes. So we're talking about doing the 10 series. And the reason why I said no stress, no pressure is because we're chunking it out, aren't we?
Yeah.
So committing to the 10, after the 10, reviewing and then seeing what comes next. And we've spoke about maybe having a look at some other frameworks where we look at different forms of communication, psychology, do interviews with other people so that we can get them on and get more people learning psychology and communication through easily relatable language. And we want to bring our personal and professional examples as well, so that people can be like, yeah, I kind of understand that now.
Yeah, that's how you use it.
Yeah.
And as much as there's 10 episodes, there'll actually be like a cheeky dozen, really, because there's this intro one. And then we're also going to have our learnings. So where we'll go more specifically into those sort of things that you've already implied around where things have worked well, and why we think things have worked well, but also the things that we've learned from doing this process, which again, I hope will just help. I hope will help people to see why it's worth bothering, like trying, because this whole process, no stress, no pressure. I honestly think you need to get that like tattooed across your forehead, Jenna, because it has been like your mantra, but it's also been
on a bottle.
Or on the bottle, yeah. But that really is how it's been, and so that's why it's worth it. Because let's face it, like working with other people always has the potential for conflict, for tension, for not going so well, and touch wood. We've gotten really far down our process so far, and that's just not been the case. And as you said, we both kind of put that down to really the understanding that we have of TA, the fact that we're then using that understanding to inform the way that we work together, and what the result is at the end of it.
Yeah. I love it. I just love it.
So where did we meet?
Oh, where do we meet? Okay, yeah. So we've got a where did we meet and a what are the items on our tables. So we met doing our foundation year, master's, group, organisation, transactional analysis. And that was an online course, which, I don't know, during the boom of Zoom, I found it quite difficult to be online all the time. I am a face-to-face person, and I almost didn't join because it was like, oh, it's online and I just won't get the stuff that I want to get from it. I'm a people person, and actually I loved it. I got loads from it, and it meant that I didn't have the travel to Nottingham way, I think, is it?
Yeah, I think that's where the Berne is, yeah.
So there were a lot of benefits from it, and I think one of the things for me that I got from doing it on Zoom was if someone showed some upset, we couldn't then go hug them, touch them, make them a brew, and that real practice of like just being with them. Like I found that, and my husband's really good at that. He is really good. He, if ever there's a time where, there's upset going on and it's my upset and I need to cry just to kind of like release it and just feel some relief, he doesn't like try and smother me to get me to stop, or he doesn't constantly offer solutions. Like he just sits with me. So that's a skill that I recognised him using, that then I was then more aware of when we did the TA Zoom. So that I felt was a benefit of doing it online. And I maybe wouldn't have been able to improve that skill quite as much if we'd done it face to face. But yeah, so we met online.
not on a dating app, on her org TA foundation course.
With the Berne, like you say.
With the Berne Institute, yep. So yeah, as I said, you know, we're not qualified. We're still on that journey, you know, where maybe one or two steps or one or two rungs up the ladder ahead of you. But what's really important to us, we have Tryon. We should bring in Tryon at this point, who is supervising us to make sure that even though we're still learning, even though we're not qualified, you become a CTA, a certified transactional analyst. We're not CTAs. That what we're talking about is actually right. You know, it's right in terms of theory, because that's really important to us. So yeah, Tryon's been...
And that we're using the right examples and things like that as well. So our process has been, we write the examples and then we have the supervision and then we just kind of go through them. Mm-hmm. Me and Becky might appear quite cold at the moment because it's gone. I don't know about you, but the room seems to be
I'm freezing.
So as soon as we cut this, we'll be like... I could be cold now. My goosebumps can come out now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what's happened. So our process has been there's been quite a lot of structure to it, I felt. Mm? Well, yes, there has with the documents, but then there's also been a lot of creative spirit, just, playful. It's Play-Doh.
I wondered what was going on with the hands. Yeah, Play-Doh.
There's been a lot of playfulness in the WhatsApp group. So I think we've had the best of both worlds with it. And again, we'll talk more about that, about what that means as well. And for me, the play is really important, but also actually the structure is quite important. Which one do you prefer?
I think I'm probably more of a structure person, but I'm learning to enjoy the playfulness before. I always bring it back to the engineering me. I was an engineer for a lot of years, and engineering is very much around process and structure, and you start from A and then you do all these things to get you to B. Where now in my coaching business, there's much more room for play, and so I'm still sort of finding that nice balance between the two.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much I needed structure, actually. I do quite like it. But
I love structure.
I'm so impulsive and I'm super playful. So yeah, so what did you get out of doing it online or doing the course?
See, so I'm not a people...
I'm not a hugger. I'm not a hugger.
I'm definitely not. Yeah, definitely not a hugger. Don't be touching me. So... I quite like the process of learning online and of not feeling quite so exhausted from being around people. People are often quite surprised if I say that I'm an introvert, because I'm big and I'm loud and I'm really happy to have my voice heard, and I will take up all the space that I feel that I deserve, but I am exhausted by being with people. I can only people for so long. So yeah, online did work really well for me. And one of the things that I loved most about the online is that we were then studying with people from all around the world.
Yeah.
And I think that, if that had been in person, we wouldn't have been in that same group. Yeah. We had people from America and Spain, and I think one was based in Greece still.
Yeah. Was one in Dubai? I want to say, I can't remember.
I don't remember one being in Dubai, but there was a few that were...
maybe I'm getting my groups mixed up.
One definitely visited Dubai, though, while we were on the training. They went to like the expo or something that was in Dubai.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah. So I loved that opportunity to learn with people who are from different parts of the world and who are really different to me as well. I think that's really important, to surround yourself with people who... don't just see the world in the way that you see it, who have different views and opinions and ideas, and to be able to learn from each other.
Yeah, different levels of awakeness as well, depending on what time of day they'd got up.
Yeah. There was one lady in, she would either be in Texas or Colorado, right? So she would be like, it would either be like a 3 or 4 a.m. start for her. Oh my gosh. I mean, if that's not commitment, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that shows the love of TA.
Real love. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll end on the item that we've got on our desk. Do you want to tell us a story about So my thought behind this was because I've spent a lot of time doing the room, and Becky has been not in Stoke, I wanted to think about how can we kind of join the room together, like how can we bring both parts now so it isn't my room, and it's just been logistics as to why I've done, got the stuff and whatever. So I said to Becky, like, we'll bring something and we'll talk about it, so it now becomes our space with our stuff. So HP Lego.
Because why wouldn't it be Harry Potter Lego?
Age 9 to 14. Was that a Christmas present this year? Last year?
I think that was a present. Oh, I know. I think that was a Christmas present, not last year, the year before, actually. Yeah. I'm not going to keep turning and looking at it too much because otherwise then my head's away from the mic. But yeah, I've got the Hogwarts Great Hall. I had to have a look then and see which one it was. The Hogwarts Great Hall set. So I've always been a huge Harry Potter fan. Loved it. I'm saying always been a huge Harry Potter fan. I distinctly remember the year that I got Harry Potter books for Christmas. And I got the first 2 Harry Potter books. And I remember opening the gift and like seeing like the picture of like the cartoon boy with this scar on his head, and I've been like, why on earth has Santa got me this?
No.
Like, what's this all about? I didn't put it down all of Christmas Day.
Kids, sort yourself out. Sort your Christmas dinner out.
It was long before kids, Jenna.
Gosh, you forget how long ago things are, don't you?
Yeah, I think I was like an early teen when I got it, like really early teen.
I bet it's scary, actually, how long ago that was.
I know.
We'll have a quick look if you know in the comments below how long ago Harry Potter came out.
Because I was then thinking about like how my like love affair with Harry Potter continued, and I remembered my brother-in-law. I seem to think that I was maybe just about old enough to drive, but my brother-in-law, bless his heart, Andrew, didn't want to let me go down to the local bookshop at midnight by myself, so he drove me down to the local bookshop for the midnight release of Harry Potter. But that's how serious it was. But then the Lego is quite new to me. Lego I discovered really during lockdown.
Okay.
And I really have distinct memories, like my kids had like bits of Lego
under your foot.
Yeah, always standing on the bits of Lego. And I remember like one day, like we were like, yeah, we'll do some stuff with Lego. I think we were helping like my daughter with her learning or something, patterns, and we were doing it with Lego bricks. And I'm sat there and I said to my other half, I don't understand adults that play with Lego. Like, what is this all about? I swear to God, 3 days later, I was like, we need more Lego. Why do we not have enough Lego in this house? And so, from there, like Lego collection has just built and built and built. And so now I have loads of Harry Potter sets, lots of them like this one in the box that aren't yet built, mainly because I don't have the space to put them once they are built. But I love it. It's something that really helps me unwind. I love that process of building it and of watching it come together. And all the time I'm sat there thinking, how do they come up with this? Like, how incredible is it that I'm building this and this has come out of someone's head? And yes, I know it's come out of a computer as well, but it's originated in someone's head as an idea. And so I love that. It's my fun thing to do. It's my little indulgence. So there's always some kind of Harry Potter Lego on my Christmas list. And so Harry Potter Lego had to be here with me.
So my husband is a Star Wars Lego guy, and he made I think it was the Millennium Falcon, I think it was. And I was dusting.
No, Jenna, stop the story.
No, it did.
Stop the story.
Or maybe it was an AT-AT. It might have been an AT-AT. I can't remember now. I think it was a Volk. Anyway, it was something he'd spent a lot of time doing, and I blamed the cat.
Does he know now?
When we got married, I did confess. Before we got married, I did confess that it was me, but yeah, it was me all along.
Oh,
yeah, we spent a lot of time doing that. So yeah, Rob loves Lego, loves Star Wars, and that leads me on to my thing. So I was like, what am I going to bring that like I can kind of like hold and it's here? And I don't know why, but I thought of honey. I must have just been getting like messages as I was like shopping them. I must have been seeing like loads of bee things and honey things and things. So this just I don't even know what it is. I guess it was part of a set. And it isn't the honey jar, because I've always wanted one that's got the spoon inside.
Oh, yeah.
But we found them in Greece anyway. We didn't go back and buy one. But anyway, the reason why I bought this is because it just made me laugh that Rob said once that he liked local honey. And we've just had our kitchen done. It took ages, so we've been living off takeaways and microwave meals for what feels like just forever. And we've now got a cupboard of local honey, because he said to me once that he liked it. So now everywhere I go and I see a jar, I'm like, oh, local honey. Oh, local honey, I'll get that. So I brought it to discuss that, but also I kind of like related it back to TA, and why I was thinking about it so much yesterday is how much TA has helped mine and Rob's relationship. Because by default, I'm talking about it a lot. So now he's learning about it, and now we're both having conversations about it, and it's helped us professionally and personally have better conversations. So getting this kind of sorted over the weekend, and the joiner not coming, if you're watching, it's a great job, and you came
in the end
eventually. But there's been a lot going on this weekend, so I've been a little bit absent, kind of sorting things out. And what happens is then Rob gets a bit mardy, and then he wants more attention because he perceives me as being distant when I'm just trying to sort this out. Years ago, I would get quite frustrated with him and like, just leave me alone. Whereas now he's like, I'm a bit marred, aren't I? And I'm like, yeah, you are. And I'm a bit stressed, but I'm not stressed at you. I'm just trying to sort this out.
Yeah.
So we're now able to recognise like both of our things and kind of work through it without arguments. And we very rarely argue. And I do think that's because of TA. And if we do, we argue in GIFs, which I would recommend for anyone, because he's much better at it than I am. Like he gets like the really obscure GIFs and things. I just tend to get like the top 10 ones. And he's a lot funnier than I am as well. So he makes me laugh a lot. But then it's gone. It's disappeared. So that's my honey pot. And yeah, so let us know in the comments below if there's something that you want from the channel as well, especially if there's maybe a framework or something that you'd want explaining. Yep. So that once we've done these 10, we can start looking at interviewing other people who are experts in their field rather than us trying to like work it out. You know, if it's completely different TA, because that would just be too much trying to learn all these different fields. But we can bring somebody else on. So let us know in the comments below what you would like from the channel. And yeah, is that our intro done?
I think that's us done.
Right, we're going to get warm now.
I hope so.